SKT, we'll start our meeting. Jen, will you do roll call, please?
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Anita Matt,
Present.
Jennifer Finley,
Here.
Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Len Tucci,
Here.
Bing Matt, Ellie Bundy, Martin Charlo,
Present.
Mike Dawson,
I'm here.
James Steele Senior.
Thank you, Jen. Well, let me see. For my elder in the room, Bing, would you mind leading us in a prayer this morning?
My name's Colin Sutton. We thank you, Creator, for all your blessings that you've given us. We thank you for the air, the water, the land that you give us to live on, to drink, and to breathe. We just thank you, Father, for all that you've done for the people. We thank you for watching over our children, our grandchildren, and most of all, our elders, Father. We pray for those, Father, that lost their loved ones, and we ask that you give them the strength to deal with their losses, Father. We just ask you to watch over our people in the armed services and keep them safe from any harm. We ask that you watch over the people in Ukraine and let them be able to go back home to where they belong, Father. And we just ask you to protect them as much as you can. Father, we thank you for bring the people here today for this meeting for us in this quarterly meeting. And we just ask you, Father, to watch over everybody that's here. And we ask you to watch over the council and help us with the decisions that we might be faced with today. And Father, we just ask you to in your name. Amen.
Bing. We're always, it's always a great blessing to have the drum at our quarterlies. And I'll say thank you for Yaman Suit. And would you please honor us with the flag song, please? I'm Lam Shamatsut. Thank you so much for being here on short notice. It's hard to do and really appreciate it. So welcome everybody to the quarterly, our spring quarterly. We have hopefully a good agenda for you today. We want to make sure that our elders have a chance to speak. So we would open the floor to any elder that would have anything for us this morning. So we'll move on to the agenda. We'll do council updates, and I'm gonna go bounce back and forth and start with Carol, and then we'll jump over to Anita.
Geez, Mr. Chairman, I was hoping I could make some notes before. No.
Oh, you know what you need to
I
say.
know. Thank you, Drum, for coming in this morning and starting our meeting off in a positive way. And Bing, thank you for the prayer this morning. We've got a lot of things going on in this organization, and I know last quarterly we talked about the reorganization that's gone on in this organization, and starting to see some real positive progress with that reorganization. We got the executives hired, Rick did, and now the council has really moved away from day-to-day operations, which we've always kind of been involved in. And it never really gave the council a chance to get involved in really what we need to be on a state, national, county, and tribal level as leaders. I mean, we shouldn't be involved in those kind of things. And so what I see is a lot of progress in this organization of, accomplishing goals that the council has set according to the resolutions that we adopted. And so I'm really pleased that what has taken place to this point. Really, we as a council, I see, is working together very well. We do a lot of laughs too. And that's what's the best part about it, is that we're so close together and we work well together, and we can say anything we need to say and not have anything negative come back at us. I mean, we all have voices on this council, and that is so important for all of us as leaders, because we represent you. And if we can't bring it back here and talk about it, then it really makes a difficult situation. I don't feel like I'm doing my job if that's the case. And so I want to applaud the administration and the executives, all the staff, that and everything they do. I've had so much opportunity to now sit in on organizational things and see really our staff in action, and it's impressive. We've got some great staff. I haven't made it to EKI yet, but just to watch our staff come together and develop things, and and this tribe is well known for standing up programs, and we've got a couple of things on the works. One of them is drug court, and it's actually I think it's a revamping of our court system. We really need to take a look at that and just get things going in that arena. We have some money from Department of Justice that we need to spend. So I'm hoping we'll travel to a couple of drug courts and view the Lake County Drug Court. And I've been involved in that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. And I really see progress, but I also see a judge that is leaving that court. Judge Manley is retiring. And I'm worried. I'm worried about all the success, and there's been some failures, but I don't call them, I guess I should never call them failures. We gave people the tools, and I've seen people leave the court, come back, and continue to do well and stay sober. So there's a lot of progress in that court system, but having Judge Manley leave is going to be a tough one. I have been involved in some consultation preparation. I'm also involved in the Montana-Wyoming Tribal Leaders Subcommittee, Health Committee, and we're talking about a statewide treatment center. Len just brought in a resolution a couple of weeks, or this week, to get that off the ground for the planning and the discussion. And I think all tribes in Montana and all throughout the nation need a treatment center. It needs something going, but for a tribe individually to fund it, it's a massive undertaking. And so we need to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row and we're doing the right thing. And we're also stressing tribal health. We need to really sit down as a council and take a look at what's going on there, but we're allowing the executives the time to get their ducks in a row and get all the information together and bring it forward to the council so we can make some informed decisions. We see some things and some issues going on there that we really need to take care of. And then also we're doing the Dixon cleanup, which is a very exciting project, I think, for me. And Anita and Martin were all involved along with a team of staff and coming together to go down on the 14th and 15th to do 13th and 14th to do a cleanup in Dixon. We're going to start out the first day, a massive cleanup with schools and Never Alone Recovery, the drug court, community members coming down there to just clean the community. We're having dumpsters and all kinds of stuff to just clean up the community. And then the next day we'll do burning and lawn mowing and getting the ground prepared for new basketball courts, a small children's water feature, arbor with dry meat rack. And there's one other thing. Anyway, the planning, we are in the planning. And so we're very excited about doing something there. And not only just going down for a weekend and doing something, it's about making sure we continue to go down there and keep that community alive and well. And eventually we're going to paint the houses and we just got a whole summer full slew of projects that we're doing down there. So it's not going to all happen on that 1 week, but it will be happening throughout the summer and the community's involved. And that's the last meeting that Anita had that I attended at. I should let her talk about this. A lot of kids came from the Dixon community to the meeting and we're very excited. And there's going to be a walking path and a boat launch there. And so we're just trying to do a lot of things. And I know I'm forgetting all the stuff that I really do. But anyway, I want to thank you for being here today and I'll let the rest of the council touch on all the other issues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Carol, for that update. Anita.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Carol. You covered quite a bit there. I thank Bing for his prayer and the drum being here. And I wanted to start out by acknowledging the losses that we've had since January and tell each of the families how truly sorry we are for the loss of loved ones. As we continue to work on the tribal land ordinance, it's just about ready for public review, and we're also working towards the probate code being completed. Most of the committees that we participate in with the homeless committee and election committees, water management board, the budget committee, enrollment, land committee, also serve as on the intertribal ag board and Akaton board, economic development, and participate in the department head meetings, A&A workforce, S&K bank meetings. We've been meeting with Salish and the Kootenai elders, which has been eye-opening. It's great to visit with them every month. Been participating in producer meetings and property management. We participated in a few field trips of potential properties offered to the tribe. And as Carol touched on, we started meeting in February in regard to the cleanup down in Dixon. As Carol said, we're planning to start that cleanup the 13th of April. I really want to thank Carol and Martin and a lot of the staff, like Mary Rose Morjo and the tribal land staff and forestry and everybody who's just jumped in and went beyond and above DHRD with Pat Matt. And also the council for supporting this project. It's kind of a pilot project, and we envision going throughout the reservation doing the same in the other communities. We traveled to Helena and met with the governor on February 28th on a number of issues. Attended a tour of Lake County Jail. Those of you who haven't seen it, I don't think you want to stay away. The Boys and Girls Club in Polson, which was a real eye opener. And I'm hoping with Carol that we can get that throughout the reservation in every community in the next few years. Right now, they got Polson and Ronan and St. Ignatius. They're envisioning going out to Arlee. And then if we can get some kind of transportation for the other smaller communities like Dixon and Hot Springs. I'd like to thank the residents down at Dixon Agency. We are so blessed with good people. Carol mentioned that we had our last monthly meeting and we had 10 youth at the table. They're all very eager to get started. They're so excited over that basketball court and the fencing and having lights and somewhere to go. As Carol said, the community with having the arbor and the meat drying racks, they're just so excited that something's finally happening down at Dixon. And as one of the individuals said, it's the gateway to the bison range. So they're really excited about cleaning it up. We had Montana Rail Link there where we've been trying to communicate with them about the railroad cars that have been there for over 5 years. So like I said, I'm so happy with the students. Two Eagle River School has offered to come down. The Dixon kids are going to come down the 13th and 14th. Like I said, they're very excited. Also, the Dixon Agency's been on the transportation improvement program, so the roads will be redone as well this year. So starting of the road project, it's a 2-year. Again, I'd like to thank my colleagues and all the support that you've given. And Mr. Chair, that's my report and thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Martin?
Thank you. I think you're seeing the layout for the basketball court down in the agency. So yeah, I'll jump onto that too. I told a April Fool's joke early yesterday that I wouldn't be here today. I hope you guys all got it. Sorry, I overbooked tremendously today because Fridays are usually my days that I do personal business and other business. So yeah, it was a little juggling of schedules today. So thank you guys all for being here. Very honored to be able to sit here. It's always a good way to measure what you're doing over the last 2 years, and this will be my second quarter. So past the halfway point, hopefully continue and work hard for everyone for the next couple years, and hopefully we'll figure out that as we go. Usually I do a COVID report. Thankfully, there's not a lot to report. Our numbers are going down for positive cases, and so are hospitalizations and severe health issues. You know, it's still there, it's still out there. So continue to be safe. If you're immune compromised or in that vulnerable population, please make sure that you continue to be proactive about your health. You know, they just approved another booster. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, those are going to be just something that we have to kind of deal with. You know, so make your choices wisely, inform yourself, do real research, get 3 credible sources, not just one that's on social media or something. And just for the fun of it, I'll say, remember to wash your hands, wear masks, social distance, especially when you're sick. Hopefully that'll be the last time I have to say that. I said that, you know, a year ago. and we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So hopefully the tail end, we flatten that curve. So with that, I always want to thank the people that got us through this, our public health, our tribal health. When you guys realize that they haven't missed a beat over the last, 3 years now, maybe thank them when you go in and see them. I know that we had to really scale back appointments and scale back a lot of our services out of safety for not only the patients, but our providers. And so as we are able to get back into dental and these other places, please be patient with them, be kind, thank them. They have continued to do a tremendous job throughout this. They never wavered, a lot of them probably still have hours that they could claim as overtime, which we don't provide, things like that, incentive awards, that all of our tribal health didn't get. Our police force, they always continue to do a great job. They gave a report last week on a lot of things that people don't really even realize that's becoming a huge issue here with drugs, and not the traditional drugs that you think about. They are synthetic, they are powerful, they are dangerous. We've lost more than probably we even realized to that in the last year. Fentanyl is something that is here, and it is popular, and it is accessible, and it is a moneymaker here. It is something that our police do a great job of working to get it off the streets, but for every one that they get off, there's probably 10 that are trying to bring it here. So definitely appreciate them. Our service industries, the people that work at restaurants, grocery clerks, those people, be appreciative of them, be patient with them. They're understaffed, they're working probably multiple shifts to cover other people. It's hard to get people to work right now. And so be patient with them, be kind, be thankful. They are providing a service, and don't feel entitled that, you have to treat them poorly just because they are, understaffed and overworked, and probably, again, didn't get a chance to not work for a few months during the pandemic. So real quickly, I'll just rattle through the things that I've been doing. We went to DC a couple weeks ago, continuing our government to government relations with Senators Tester, Daines, Rosendale. Got to personally meet with all of them. Invited them to our bison event, which I've been tagging along with, and reminding them of how many days we have left until the event. So thanks for Steph and Brian and Shane and Gwen Langford. They are all doing a tremendous job behind the scenes. We're looking to do a really great event in May. We're going all out, I'll say that. So if your guys' per caps are a little short next time, thank Shane Morjo. I'm kidding. There's no, yeah, April Fools. Thanks, Carol. God, this is a somber group. Jesus. Come on. Should do like, yeah, go back to Job Corps and say good morning to you all. Yeah, working I love to attend the elders meetings. Always get to learn something new. Hopefully we can provide some building space for them in the near future. We've kind of identified some places that we could provide, hopefully a cultural learning center where we can provide space for our immersion classes, the people learning language. A lot of our really important artifacts are stored at the Longhouse right next to the kitchen, which I always worry about. And so, yeah, definitely supporting them as much as we can. The other big event that we're going to have this summer is the Bear Tracks Bridge dedication, formerly the Higgins Bridge in Missoula. That'll be on July 16th. I know that is the same day as the Saturday of Elmo Powwow, but unfortunately, that's just the date that was selected before we even knew we were going to have powwows this year. So I hope that we can get as many people down there because this is very historic. It's very meaningful for our people that left the Bitterroot, and something that really is, Missoula County is doing a great job with kind of including us into their kind of revisioning of downtown Missoula. So, our tribes played a really important, well, we've been there forever, and they're finally acknowledging that and getting rid of some of these people that built their businesses on the backs of Indian agents that work for our reservation. God, no wonder why we're all somber, huh? Yeah, the big thing that I do for mental health, it gets me going is disc golf. I picked it up literally about 2.5 years ago, found a disc over at SKC. It's formerly known as Frisbee Golf, Falf, Frolf. There's a lot of different names. Basically, it's a disc you throw. It's like you play with golf rules. You get into a basket, and it's something that through the pandemic was great for me because I could go out and do it by myself and get mad and angry and happy and sad all in one throw. And, it's something that we're going to really continue to grow the sport. Down in Dixon, we're looking at repurposing the post and pole yard as a course down there with a walking path, restoring some of the areas. So that's one of the big things. I want to thank SKC for allowing the disc golf course that's over there. There's a full 18, actually 20 baskets, 22 if you're really creative. And so, yeah, they are allowing us to use their space, and hopefully we can improve that as well with more signage and things like that. We do have a league on Sundays at noon. And again, I should have set a timer because I feel like I've been talking a real long time. The last thing is the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. I am part of that. We are going full bore on that. We just got, actually Dave Strohmeyer, he's the Missoula County Commissioner, got Northern Cheyenne and Crow to sign on to the commission. So that is 2 more tribes that have kind of agreed to do that. That's bringing back the Southern Rail that would go from Billings to Missoula to Sandpoint, Idaho. And so there would be passenger rail service out of Missoula, and possibly some stops along the way, maybe Dixon. There's a lot of different things on the horizon with that. Yeah, physical health, mental health. Those are things that we all struggle with, and probably even if you don't realize that, you probably do, especially through the winter months. Spring feels like it's finally here when it wants to be. Some days it's winter. I think yesterday I saw some snow. Make sure you're getting out there and enjoying that. Get as much sunlight as you can. If not, there's little fake light sunlights that you can buy. Vitamin D deficiency is huge among our people, especially during the winter time. Seasonal affective disorder is something a lot of people suffer with, myself included. So this is me being really happy and excited. So I'm coming out of the, getting out more in the sun, walking around, playing disc golf. Making really dry jokes that no one gets. That's always fun. But with that, Mr. Chairman and membership, I want to thank you guys for being here. I'll set a timer next time and stop myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Just one question. I golf, and I've seen a lot of my golf parties break their clubs when they get frustrated. So do you break your arm, or do you break a finger, or what do you do when you have a bad game?
You just throw your discs harder at trees. It's I'm sure it's a lot like golf, where you just become.
So you cheat on your strokes? Is that...
Accidentally, of course, accidentally.
Martin, remind me of something really important, given this COVID update. I believe this afternoon, the college is offering booster shots and other shots for folks. So if you're over 50 and it's been 4 months since you had a booster, I believe it's recommended that you go get that. So that's this afternoon at the college gym. So I believe that's still, correct me, college people, if that's wrong, but I believe that's this afternoon. So Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Drum, for being the heart of our tribe, and thank you all. I am so honored to sit here and work with these folks to do your business every day. I just feel that honor. And I'll just hit a couple highlights from the quarter. Martin has talked about how COVID is coming around finally. We're meeting again. We're getting in the same rooms, but we've had so many reports from our schools that our students have suffered over this time period of COVID, and then mental health has become a priority, even over academics in the schools. And so I want you to remember that and think of our children and do what you can for our children in our schools. And one report that we had here was Michelle Mitchell, our tribal ed director, brought in a new curriculum called Exploring Home, developed by Julie Kajun. I'm really looking forward to seeing that get out there to our students. It's a land-based curriculum. I've really been pleased to see the cooperation that we're having with, like, Missoula County, as mentioned by Martin, and now we're participating and cooperating more with Lake County. We're seeing more of that, and it's so nice to hear about cooperation rather than adversity. And I'm hoping we can continue and move towards Sanders County as well. Looking forward to that stuff. A couple things I've been involved with. I was appointed to a committee basically participating in whatever happens with the Columbia River Basin. It's been interesting meeting with the 15 tribes of the Columbia River Basin, talking about salmon, and if you're not aware, the salmon are disappearing, and it's telling on just what's happening with our environment. I look at the salmon like I look at the miner's canary. They always talked about in history that, you know, when that canary falls over, you better get out of the mine. Well, we got to realize we can't get out of this mine, and those salmon are dying. And so it's really becoming an important issue to me. The Columbia River Treaty, really, that Columbia River and the headwaters is a part of our heart and soul, our basic blood, feeding our dam and looking at the floods, and just so important. I'm happy to see that the compact settlement's starting to get moving forward. The Jocko Canal's North Master Plan has been released. If you're interested to see what kind of progress we can make with this project, they outline exactly what the engineering is for that irrigation project and how it's going to save water that we can put back into the streams and still provide plenty of water for irrigation. It's a tremendous feat that we're starting there. One other thing that we are talking about that is kind of vitally important to all of us is our burial policy. We're really looking at discussing our burial assistance and beefing that up a little bit as prices are going up. And so those are just a few of the things that I've been involved with, and I'm really looking forward to that celebration of getting that bison range back. And they're putting together a good celebration, so mark the date. And with that, I'll end my report just saying you can contact me at 406-880-5524 anytime. And that's my report.
Thank you, Mike. As long as you don't leave your phone on top of your car again, drive away. Mike had, you know, I told him to buy a lottery ticket the other day because he did that at his house, and he drove, you know, through Camas Prairie all the way back here, realized his phone was on top of his car. And, but they found it and it was still working. So I said, go get a lottery ticket. Bing, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Drum for being here with their honor song, flag song that they sang this morning. And it's good to hear them here, being here all the time when these meetings start. I don't know if I can top Martin's speech here. He's like Paul Harvey, page 1, 2, 3, and the rest of the story. So I don't know if I can quite do her, but it's we've been kind of a long quarter this time around, with the winter being here and all the roads we had to fight to get here and whatnot. But it's good to be out. We're back here in council again and doing our business here instead of on Zoom. But we had a meeting, like I think Anita reported what meeting we had with the governor over in Helen, and that was pretty interesting. First time we had that 2 years ago was to me, it was altogether a different meeting than it was 2 years ago, because he was new at the time and he just kind of wanted to more or less listen to what we had to say. But at this time around, he had some input that he gave to us, and hopefully that we can have more meetings with him, every 6 months or every year anyway, so we know what's going on, what he has to say, what he's planning on doing, and us doing the same with him. But it was good to have that meeting. We had another meeting over there with the Democratic convention with Senator Tester being there, and another senator from, I believe, Virginia was there. I don't remember his name, but he was there, and it was something to see. And that's the first time I was there. And there we had the candidates, that are going to be running for offices coming up here and soon, and it was just good to hear what a lot of them had to say. Some of them were a little off the wall, but it was good overall to see, to listen to them all. But we went to I believe Anita's report on the jail visit. That was a really eye opener to see the number of people that are in those jails and how crowded they are and what they look like. I told, that's one thing I didn't have ever was in the Lake County Jail, but I'm glad it never was, because that was a eye opener for me, just to see what takes place up there in the prisoner, what they go through up there and where they stay, and there was one guy up there hollering out he was going to be out in a few days, and sure enough, I seen him over here at the IGA over here at the store that one day. He was still hollering around, but he was served his time, did all this and that. But it was good to see him out, and about. He was pretty happy about it. But it's a lot. I hope a lot more of them do get out, and with the stuff that we're hopefully going to be working on with the courts, whatnot, us going to be dealing with them people hopefully here instead of them dealing with at Lake County. It's gonna, I hope that it'll be a lot better situation than they have now. But it's the I'll just read my note here. We've had this one lady come in here. She presented the that quilt back there on the wall back there. She came in the other day and gave us a banner, and it was really nice that she came in when she did that, and she does it out of just from her heart. She gives that to Ellie, knows her real well, and I've talked to her at a couple ball games, and she's telling me what she was going to do, but it was something else to see. I mean, into what she gives to us, and it's, for these people that she cares so much for. We have a artist that's going to be in Missoula this weekend that paints pictures of our people that we've lost, and he's going to be in there today and tomorrow, I believe, right, Ellie? He'll be in there today and tomorrow at the Art Museum in Missoula. But it's good to see, hear what the people are doing. We're gonna lose another one here, retiring, but I'm not gonna mention his names. We're losing a lot of our people in legal, and I know Dan been doing real well, and we're filling those positions and getting his staff back up to where it should be and whatnot, and he's working real hard to assume Rhonda's position over there, and it's, we have a report from him about twice a week and what's going on, and it's good to hear all what's taking place over there. John Harrison and I have been sitting in on bison calls from down at from Yellowstone, reporting how many bison been killed, how many elk been killed and whatnot. Been a poor season for bison again for the tribes. We were a tribe here managed to get, I think 27, was it Tom? 27 tribe got here, and they were given to the programs for the elderly and food banks or whatever else they were given to. So hopefully with the weather coming up, it's supposed to be turning a little bit kind of cold, but if we have a few more coming out, we might get a few more, but that's just wait. We have to just wait to see if that's going to happen or not. There's 37 elk taken out of there by the other tribes. We don't take the elk out of there, but then when there's only 5 bison that was killed this year, one was just this past week was killed over there, but that was all taken all year long, and usually there's a lot taken, but with the weather being like it is, there's just no movement at all from them, and they're staying right in the park and not enough snow to bring them out of there. Powwow committees were met with the maintenance staff and Elmo, Arlie, to see what maintenance that needs to be done on the grounds, and hopefully they're going to be getting started with that ASAP. Since powwow is coming up real quick, and next thing you know, it's going to be the 1st of July, and everything is going to be in full swing. And hopefully we have everything ready for the people so they can come up and enjoy the powwow that we've hadn't had in a couple of years. But they've been having a few powwows around, one in Bozeman, one down in Worley, and having one here in Missoula here in a couple of weeks, and hopefully there'll be a lot of people that take in these powwows, and that they miss so much, and powwows are really a life, what I want to say, brings everybody to life, I guess what I want to say, and for the powwows that they attend. What else? Like somebody else mentioned about the drug task force. We had a meeting with them. They had a presentation here Monday or Tuesday. And boy, really, it was really an eye opener of what they had to report. The drugs that are on this reservation is unbelievable, and it's like Martin stated, and it's causing a lot of our people, we're losing a lot of our people over it. A lot of them are getting in trouble over it, and it's just not here. They had a big bust over there in Browning this last day or two, and they're all over, and selling it for $40 a pill where they can buy it for $6 a pill. They're making a lot of money. So there's a lot of that stuff around, and and hopefully that our younger people don't get hooked up into that stuff, and so they keep away from it. We pray for them all the time, and just to keep them safe, and to watch over them for us. Where our people with water, with our water issues that we're having, meeting with Dan Dicker and all them, and bringing in reports that we're getting with the meetings they're having with the public, at these public meetings or whatnot. They're doing a real good job of doing what's being asked of them. Still have meetings with them yet, and we're gonna, with the irrigations coming up and all this water issues are going to be, of course, we're going to be faced with and whatnot, is going to be kind of an eye opener, I believe, for everybody. Wells and whatnot. Projects up in Jocko. That's going to be starting on the canal, Orke Canal, and whatever else up there. They're going to be starting, and there's going to be a lot of work, and hopefully a lot of our members up there are able to go up there and apply for those jobs and get some work, because there's going to be a lot of work coming up, and money to be made if they just get up there and sign up for these jobs, and so they can be able to work and support their families up there. What else I got? I guess that's, well, gaming, our gaming board and whatnot up there. I've been working with them, and the casino is still being planned to be built up there in Polson on the West Shore, and just across the bridge there. And hopefully they're going to start that soon. They're still working on a few issues that they got to get done with Polson, the city of Polson up there. But hopefully they get that built and get that moved out of the hotel and have their own casino there, where people will be able to go in and to the motel and just enjoy the hotel and whatnot. But to say, it's glad to see everybody here. It's been a while since we've seen this many people in the audience, and it's appreciate Dan, I appreciate John Harrison and all of them for being here and doing the job that they've been doing, and reporting on some of the issues that John's been working on, and it's good to have staff like that, so we know that we're got the support that we need, and some knowledge that needs to be passed on to us. So other than that, I guess that's all I have to say. And I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for asking me to do the prayer. Kind of unusual here. I'm the elder, and it's so, but I'm honored to do that. So thank you all for being here.
And again, thank you for doing the prayer. We don't have age discrimination here. Jennifer.
Thank you, Chairman McDonald. So I'm just finishing my first 3 months in tribal council, and I just want to say I'm still myself. If you see me on the street, I'll say hi to you. My dog and I aren't wearing matching Pendleton vests yet. I've remained myself, and I think whenever we are ourselves, we're at our strongest and we're at our best. And I've certainly learned a lot. I feel like I was just kind of thrown in like, okay, go make some decisions now. Because of COVID, we didn't have the normal orientations that we would normally have as a tribal council. And I'm very new to this. And so one of the first things that I got to vote on was authorizing the stimulus payments to come out in January instead of in June. And I was really happy to be part of that. And then I got COVID. So then I was only very mildly sick, but I was really exhausted for a long time from that. So, definitely COVID is still real. And something we have to be aware of. And I've really learned a lot from being on tribal council. And I think I'm really proud of us for picking Tom McDonald as our chairman. He is a master of diplomacy. Sometimes we, as a council, we have to deal with some really difficult people. And I've seen Tom handle that with an amazing amount of diplomacy that I've learned a lot from. I thought, oh gosh, I'm really happy, and I've learned a lot from Carol, and Carol has been doing this for a really long time, longer than any of us. And Carol is tireless. Carol goes to meetings in the evenings, on weekends. She returns calls, she talks to people, she helps to get things done. And because of Carol, we're going to really move forward with getting a drug court for our tribe. And that is really, really due to Carol Langford. Because she's been involved with that. She brought the judge here to present to the tribe. So we, as a tribe, we really owe that to Carol for bringing that here. And, you know, in addition to the workers who will be doing the drug court. So one of the things that we learned from the drug court presentation was that Judge Manley said that I think 80% of the people he dealt with came back. And then because of the drug court, like maybe 20% of the people he saw came back. So it reversed the statistic that it is extremely effective to have a drug court in reducing recidivism. And that's something we're going to have here as a tribe. So we stop punishing people for being traumatized. And so it's just really important work. And one of the things that I got to be part of here is, like some others have said, we met with the governor, we met with Governor Gianforte, and then I was part of a delegation of people who went to Washington, DC. And, you know, being new to all of this, and, you know, it was honestly a little bit intimidating at first. I thought, I'm just a poet with a Chihuahua. Like, what am I doing here? But really my sense of purpose is what drives me. And as I was in Washington, DC, among all of these grand buildings and, you know, sitting with people, you know, sitting with senators and people like that, I thought, I'm here. I thought of all the people I represent here, my family, and, you know, all of the people I know here, and all of you are the reason that I do that work, and I do all the work that I do. And I keep that in mind in every place that I go and everything that I do. And, you know, I wasn't there for myself. I was there for all of you to learn as much as I could, to engage as much as possible. And I took like so many notes, and you know, I take this job very seriously. And so, yeah, and I really appreciate all of my colleagues here. I think in each of our own way, everybody has a different way of caring about the community and caring about their work. And so that's been a really nice thing, I think. And I had a whole thing prepared, but I decided it was lame. So I'm just kind of going from my rough notes here. And I can't read my writing anymore. So one of the things that we did was visit the jails, and we visited the Lake County Jail and the Tribal Jail. And it made me more dedicated to advocating for prevention, because we have too many Indians going to jail who should not be in jail. And when we had the drug task force come in, one of the officers said, we are turning people with trauma into felons. People are being punished for having trauma and nowhere to go. And I asked them, I said, what's, one of them said that one of the things that we need most is a treatment center. So that's one of the things I'm going to really advocate for and support. It's not that I didn't believe in those things before, but I believe in them much more now. And looking at law enforcement and looking at what happens to people, and that some of our brightest minds and some of the people with the greatest potential in our tribe are going to jail instead of living up to their potential. And I would like to see that changed. And And one of the other things I wanted to talk about was one of the things that I have strongly advocated for is a tribal civics program. I think that as a tribe, we need to have a unified body of knowledge so we all understand what it means to be a tribal citizen. I want all of us, every one of us, to know who we are, where we come from, and to know how important it is that we protect the land and that we protect each other. And I always think about that some people don't have anybody who prays for them and who cares about them. And I always try to remember those people in my prayers, the people who don't have anybody to pray for them. and that I pray for all of us. And I pray that all of our work that we do as a tribal council is a blessing to the entire membership and to our future tribal members. And so I've been really advocating and pushing for a tribal civics program, so we have a body of knowledge that ties us together as tribal citizens, as citizens of this nation. So we're all proud of who we are and where we come from, and that future generations look at all of this land and every place around them and say, it's my job to protect this. It's my job to pray for people who nobody prays for. It's my job to make people who don't feel like they belong here, like they belong here. That we help each other in that way, because that's the only way we're going to survive. That our survival is perilous. It's delicate, it's fragile, and it's going to take a lot of work from all of us. And I think the last thing I want to say is that I have been so impressed with all of the departments. So as departments come into tribal council and do presentations about their work, and I'm so impressed by the caliber of people we have working for our tribe in every capacity. Every department has really amazing people who care about their work, who are really smart, and who do a great service to our people. And everybody's job here is important, because it serves our community, it serves our tribal members. So it's a huge honor to be in this position. And, you know, so Cheeto and I, my Chihuahua, aren't wearing matching Pendleton vests yet. I'm still myself. If you see me on the street, I'm not like, I'm still myself. And I hope that we can always all be ourselves and always know that this is our place and this is where we belong. And the land is depending on us to protect it. And vulnerable people who are more vulnerable than we are, who weren't able to come here today, are depending on all of us and all of the jobs that we do for our organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for your kind words. Appreciate that. And I ditto your comments about Carol and the rest of the council members. Ellie.
Thank you, Chairman McDonald and council peers. Hesquetst, thank you all for being here today. To being in Yamasut, thank you for starting our day in such a beautiful way. Last quarter, I began my report by stating my hopes that this council would commit to working together through adversities with the realization that disagreements are healthy, that we would strive to work together and communicate in respectful and professional ways, that we would commit to supporting one another through difficult times and cheer each other on during good times. I would like to take a moment to thank each of my council peers for doing just that over this last quarter. I've appreciated the camaraderie and getting to know each of you better. We are a diverse group tasked with a monumental responsibility, and those we serve deserve our best foot forward always. So again, thanks to each of you. We have so many wonderful things coming soon. You will hear about several of them today during the Bison Range update, the Water Compact update, as well as those things mentioned in other council member reports, such as drug court and the community cleanups. It certainly promises to be a busy quarter, and I am so grateful for the amazing personnel we have on board to help us successfully accomplish the many, many goals. As a report to you for activities outside of council meetings this last quarter, I provided presentations on missing and murdered Indigenous persons in CSKT's Tribal Community Response Plan, to the Park County Human Trafficking Task Force, and at the Mountain Sky Conference for the United Methodist Church. This upcoming quarter, I'm scheduled to present at the National Missing and Unidentified Persons Conference, the annual Department of Interior, Department of Justice Law Enforcement Summit, and will be speaking at the Montana Native Women's Coalition MMIP March in Billings. Additionally, I would like to acknowledge that the CSKT MMIP work group has resumed monthly meetings, and would like to thank Jamie Pluff for her leadership and oversight of that group. I would also like to thank work group member Shoni Malding, who so graciously created and donated the banner up here hanging today. And special thanks to Jim for getting that hung for me last night, offering to do so. Shoni is also the creator, as being mentioned, of the beautiful quilt that you see at the back of the room. And I want to say how blessed we are to have such wonderful and giving people that participate in our local efforts to raise awareness for MMIP. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the signing of the Violence Against Women VAWA reauthorization bill by President Biden on March 15th as part of the omnibus appropriations package. While this bill does many things, one of the most notable is that it restores tribal jurisdiction to prosecute non-Indian perpetrators of sexual violence, sex trafficking, stalking, child violence, assault of tribal justice personnel, and obstruction of justice on tribal lands. While there are a lot of conversations to be had about what this may look like here in the future, it is a definite win for Indian country. I'm very excited to have joined Salish Kootenai Housing Authority's Board of Commissioners as the Tribal Council representative this next 2 years. I've served with them in the past and I'm looking forward to working with this board and staff once again. I've also attended my first meeting for the Lake County 911 Board, and I'm excited to be able to contribute in meaningful ways to the public safety and communication efforts through this collaboration. Before I close, I would like to acknowledge those families who have lost loved ones these last few months. I pray for all who are struggling to find strength and peace in their most difficult time. Remember that tomorrows are not promised, so hug your loved ones. Be grateful for every day you are given. Make memories, laugh more, and always be quick to forgive. With that, I will end my report by saying thank you for this opportunity to serve you. That completes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ellie. Jimmy.
Ms. Quicks. First of all, I just want to thank this young suit for coming here. I mean, really uplifts you to hear the drums, hear the songs, the culture, the history in it. It just gives you a great feeling to be able to, looking forward to the powwows reopening, all of that. For an update, I had the pleasure of going to DC with Jennifer and Martin and talking with the Senators about the issues that I used to, a few years back, tried to talk with them about the safety of Highway 93, and I'm really concerned about it more so now because of all the influx of people that have moved in. So much traffic and so much speed on our highways where we don't have any left turn lanes for people that live on the sides of 93, and it's really dangerous. And so I talked with them about those issues, talked with them 12 years ago about the same thing, nothing's changed. Hopefully I can get their attention on that. Just those things, and supported the other two council reps over there for their issues. Very important to deal with those people at the top and hopefully get their attention to look at the issues we have here. I gotta tell you, it's a pleasure working with this council. They're doing great. I think everybody's doing a good job. It's easy to talk with them, to get along with them, to support each other. I think that's a big important part for our people. We need to be together on these decisions, and if we can't, we can agree to disagree. It's just it's a very important job for our people. I've been to the tours of Lake County and our tribal jail. So what they're saying is true. It's not a good place to be. I wish there was some way. Well, Carol's working on the drug court issues and those things, and I think those will have an impact on our people, I hope. And everything that they talked about, the drug task force that open your eyes to what's happening. I got personal experience with it. One of my niece's daughter just got out of the hospital with fentanyl, and you don't realize it, but the effects of, if you happen to make it through there's other effects that are in your body that you have to live with, or if you can't live with it. It's something that really worries me because it's so available. And talking to the task force, it's available, it's easy to get, it's expensive, but people are spending all their money on it. And I think about the families, the kids that they have to raise, and it's just a bad situation. Those things I wish we could do something about, and all the things that I had pleasure going to in Coosan, looking at what they're doing down there. And it's really awesome. All the council needs to go down there and look at what they're doing with that building, the old bowling alley. And it's changed. They're doing some great things. In fact, Bing and I are gonna go down there Monday and visit them again and community center to see what issues they have that we might be able to help with. You know, there's so much going on, and I really got to tell you, it's an honor for me to be up here. I'm gonna learn everything as quick as I can. I've only been here 3 months, and but I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and you know, I'm gonna do my very best for you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Len?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, distinguished membership. One of the good things about going last is many of my colleagues have covered a lot of the projects that we've been working on. So I wanted to just acknowledge a few other issues. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, recently we acknowledged and celebrated a day called the Vietnam War Veterans Day. I want to quickly acknowledge a few of our very own, Bernie Azure, who was a Vietnam War veteran, George Ducharme, who was also a veteran. And I know we have many veterans here in the audience, and we also have the distinct honor of having 2 tribal elder veterans. We have Tom Antiste here joining us today, and we have Mr. Bud Moran. And I want to thank you all for your service, and thank you for the honor of joining us today. It's really great. So I want to give you guys a really quick round of applause. It is a real honor. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, I know some of you mentioned our recent visit with the our recent presentation that we got from the Drug Task Force team, which was very interesting and touching. Knowing the fact that what our people are out there doing to try to combat drugs. It's one thing that we don't hear in the news and the media of what they are taking off the streets. What we've seen firsthand, it is happening. Unfortunately, they can't keep up with the flow of drugs that keep coming in. The amount of fentanyl that has been taken off recently was very, very surprising, and it was just sad because it's a lot of our younger people that are bringing it in, and it's good to know that we have a task force team that are on top of their game. They know what they're doing, and they're doing the best they can. So I just want to report that to the membership, knowing well that they are out there and they are working hard and they are putting their lives on the line. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. So thank you. With that said, as I mentioned before, my colleagues have mentioned a lot of the projects that we've been working on. It's a great feeling working with this bunch of people that I feel like we're all on the same page. We all communicate, and it's just a good feeling. So I also want to let the membership know about that. I think that's really important, that we up here working for you know that we are getting things done, especially knowing that the recent passing of the water compact, there's so much work that has to be done out there. And as it was mentioned, we have excellent staff people that are leading the way in that. So, and I will just end it there. And once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be with us today. As I've told you over and over, it always reminds us who we work for. And I also want to challenge each and every one of you to engage us and ask us the hard questions. And once again, thank you all for being and joining us today.
Thank you, Len. I also want to thank everybody for being here today, and one of the great advantages of being the MC of the meeting is that I get to go last and everybody talked about everything that I don't need to talk about, and I can get us back on schedule. I would love to say that this last 12 weeks have been wonderful, but they've been pretty intense. And so it's been my pleasure to serve and to get to know everybody and to work with the council here, which I would say has been excellent. So the folks here that are representing you are doing an outstanding job and working together and trying to hit the issues that we have before us. And so the thing that I've always encouraged our staff to do is to provide that excellent service, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to do that, not only 100%, but do that 110% for our membership, for the environment, and for our long-term sustainability here on this planet. So with that, I want to remind people that Earth Day is coming up, and there is going to be an Earth Day event over at the college. Encourage people to go to that and to remind folks that, you know, what are you doing today to help, you know, with climate change? And so I would encourage people to think about that and start thinking about that every day, because it's a paradigm shift that we struggle with all the time. I struggle with it. Everybody struggles with it. And I really want to make sure that they're able to do that. I don't want to take any more time for myself other than please know that I'm working as hard as I can for everybody. I would like to at this time talk about, we're honoring 2 tribal employees and 4 tribal college employees, but also out there's other agencies that have been recognizing our tribal members for their outstanding work out there. And I would love to recognize those and put them in for the record for this quarterly meeting. Those tribal members that have been recently honored or recognized for their work. Marie Trojan, who's been working for the tribes for 35 years and the program manager at Three Chiefs Cultural Center. She was recognized by the Native American women, as a Native American woman leader in cultural heritage tourism by the American Indian and Alaska Native Tourism Association, which is really incredible. That's just wonderful. Our Safety of Dams program staff was awarded by the Bureau of Indian Affairs Safety of Dams Bureau a certificate of appreciation for continuing their work without a skip or missing a beat during the shutdown during the COVID-19. And those staff persons were Molly Auld, Holly Berland, Ambrose Cook Salloway, Robert Farrow, Nigel Matt, Rebecca Phillips, Nicholas Quickwasoo, Kyle Schock, Brianna Steele, and Loretta Hoots. That was an outstanding achievement for their dedication to stay operational. And that was really important because they monitor dams across the country, 140 different facilities. And I know a lot of our staff were real critical, our law enforcement, and did the same thing for a lot of our different programs, had staff to do that. But having outside recognition is really important. I'd also like to mention that Shannon Claremont, who's happened to be here right now, and late Stacy Corbrill were also recognized by the Montana Chapter of Wildlife Society, the Distinguished Service Award that they issue specifically for their work on conserving and managing grizzly bears. And so Stacy, thank you. That was an outstanding award, and your dedication has been fantastic. Old guy from Dixon, he was recognized, Squirrel. Jerry Hamel was brought into the Montana Cowboy Hall of Fame for the Heritage Center. That's a pretty cool thing. Actually, that award and recognition is coming up on April 9th. So that was his long-term participation in Indian Stock Association, his rodeoing, a couple of his awards. I'm sure he probably cheated getting those awards, but I don't want to go into that. And then another person who's in the crowd here. I thought I saw him walk in, Alan Addison. He's in the paper today. And Alan, where are you, Alan? Oh yeah, there you are, Alan. Alan was recognized by the MCA board and the Montana chapter of Aspire for his outstanding TRIO programs work and years of service for helping those low-income students, special needs college students. So thank you, Alan, and that recognition is deserving. So I wanted to make sure we do that. Thank you all. With that, I want to start our 2 tribal employees that we want to recognize this morning. And I want to call up Abby Dupuy, if she's in the building. No? She's online. Abby, are you online? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm remote.
Okay, Abby. Abby has been working for the tribes for quite a few years. But she stood up and did the challenge for the tribal council when we started the Court of Appeals. And she signed up as the Court of Appeals Administrator, basically started that from scratch and dedicated a lot of time and effort to make sure that that's successful operation with the tribes. And she is essentially retiring from that effort. And this summer, this June, but she started in 1995, so that's 27 years that she did this work. So Abby, we really want to recognize your outstanding work. She went to, special training for it. She got certificates, and just as her administration of that court has been fantastic. And of course, I've known Abby since, since the early 70s, and she's been a tribal employee for a long time. And your work, Abby, for the Court of Appeals and operating it such an outstanding fashion is deeply appreciated by the tribal council. And so we want to recognize you today for that effort. So thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
The next person happens to be in the room, and I would ask him to come up. Brian Upton is been a person that's been working for the tribes for quite some time. And his effort to restore the National Bison Range to tribal ownership and operation has been a long progression. And I always called Brian the Energizer Bunny for his work, continuing to do that. And I would love to ask Dan if you would say a few words, if you would, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Council. So, yeah, just so for anyone that doesn't know, probably everyone does. My name is Daniel J. Decker. I'm the newly appointed managing attorney for the Tribal Legal Department. And today, my colleague and friend Brian Upton has worked for the legal department for almost 20 years. And today, it was with great pleasure that we honor Brian for his many years of devoted service with the tribes. But first, I wanted to give everyone a little bit about Brian's background. A native of Michigan and now Montana, Brian received his bachelor's degree from Michigan State University and his law degree from the University of Montana School of Law. During law school, Brian interned at the CSKT Tribal Defender's Office. After graduating from law school, Brian went to work for the Grand Traverse Tribes in Michigan. In the early 2000s, Brian returned to Montana and came to work for the CSKT in the legal department. Among the many issues over the years that Brian has worked on include things like various tribal lands issues, including land acquisitions, mortgages, forestry issues, tribal credit issues, BPA mitigation land acquisitions, and numerous litigations that Brian's been involved with. He also is our go-to expert on tribal self-governance issues. But perhaps the most important thing that Brian has worked on for the tribes in his long-standing and tireless work is the restoration of the former Bison Range to CSKT ownership. When Brian began working for the tribes, he was instrumental in getting 2 different annual funding agreements put in place with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service for co-management of the National Bison Range, which included tribal employees working at the Bison Range. These 2 annual funding agreements failed, in my opinion, due to no fault of the tribes. The 2 failed agreements were certainly a frustrating time for the tribes. However, Brian and others were undeterred in their efforts to get the tribes more involved with future management of the Bison Range and ultimately restoration of that range to tribal ownership. Brian was instrumental in reaching out to non-governmental organizations in getting their support for legislation to restore the Bison Range to tribal ownership. Many informational campaigns took place. And there was one over at the college about 6 years ago. And these t-shirts were handed out. And until this day, I still see people out on the street wearing these shirts. And Brian had a lot of time and effort put into that. So yeah, Brian put a lot of work into that, and I have a couple of these t-shirts and wear them proudly still. Brian also has worked as a filmmaker with tribal member Shane Morzo and Roy Big Crane and producer Daniel Glick in the creation of the documentary In the Spirit of Atatise, the Untold Story of the National Bison Range. That film has been seen by thousands of people throughout the region and the entire country. All of these previously mentioned actions help lead to the eventual goal of getting congressional legislation to restore the bison range to tribal ownership. Due to the strong commitment of many individuals, including Brian, restoration of the bison range was included in the tribe's recently passed water settlement, the Montana Water Rights Protection Act. Many of us strive to have that career-defining moment. Brian certainly has achieved that with his endless work with other devoted tribal staff members in restoration of the bison range to CSKT ownership. From now on, we'll never again have to see that big purple spot on the middle of our tribal land status maps. It will remain green from now on. Not only is that a career-defining moment for Brian, but a long-awaited historical moment for our tribes. With that said, I just want to thank you, Brian. We are grateful to have people of your caliber and dedication work for the tribes. And it was a great respect and honor that we present you with this gift today.
Thank you, Dan. You know, Brian, it's been a real honor to work with you on the bison range stuff. So I made you a couple of buffalo necklaces for you. Wanted to give you those to you. A couple of my best memories I've had have been with Brian working. A trip to Grand Portage, which was fantastic. And I got to see the spirit tree and touch base with my Ojibwe relatives in Minnesota. And then one of those really kind of crazy things was a trip with Brian lobbying, working on AFA, and one of those first things that ever happened to me. I was attacked by bed bugs in a real first-class hotel in Denver. But I've always eaten some really exotic food with Brian. He's one of those cultural guys. I'm sure that's because of his beautiful wife has exposed him to culture. She's here today. Yeah, Brian, Dale and I used to joke about Brian because he would just never give up. So he's one of those employees that reminds me of my wife who works so hard. Just get on task. He's like like Jack Russell on it, and he's never going to give up. I remember Dale and I would say, God dang it. And Dale would go, darn that Upton. He's doing it again, and it's just, but that persistence will prevail. And Brian's dedication to restoring the bison range to the tribal ownership has been there. And so thank you, Brian. We're gonna put a blanket on you, honor you. Should we have an honor song for Abby and Brian? Thank you again, Abby, and thank you again, Brian, for great work for the tribes. Just absolutely wonderful. Certainly would invite Abby if you'd want to say anything, or Brian. Mic is yours.
So thank you so much. This is a huge honor and I really appreciate it. It's super humbling and it's also embarrassing because so many people have done so much work on this road and I feel I don't feel good about being the face of it because so many people did so much. Shannon, I'm looking at you. I mean, so many people here. But I really appreciate you giving me the chance to work with you and for you. I can't even start to tell you all the things that I've learned, all the people I've met, the friends I've made, and doing something that you believe in and that's important and that is important to your friends and your larger family is a gift. And I think most everybody here in this room has probably had that kind of gift. I didn't necessarily have to have that, and I got it, and I really appreciate that. I also want to just say, Dan mentioned the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa, who I first worked for out of law school, and they taught me a lot that I brought here and did so much for me too. And so when you honor me, you honor them. And I just want to mention that. I really don't know what else to say because I thought I was going to be giving an update about the Bison Range celebration.
Oh, you are.
Should I do that now?
Not quite yet.
Okay. All right. I'll just cut it short. Thank you so much. It's an ongoing gift to me and I just appreciate it so much. And I also want to tell Abby, Abby, you've been fantastic here. It's been a pleasure meeting your son. I appreciate all the work that you've done, Abby, and all the things that you've done for me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Abby, we have a blanket and I also made some necklaces for you because I've known you so long. So really want to appreciate your work. So hopefully we get a chance to give that to you in person. So
Thank you so much.
thank you, Abby. With that, our next is the Salish Kootenai College recognition of outstanding employees. And we have College Board Chairman Jim Durgalow here, and we have the college president, Sandra Boham, on Zoom. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jim.
All right. On behalf of the Board of Directors for Salish Kootenai College, I first want to express my appreciation for this opportunity and time on your busy agenda to recognize publicly some of the work that our faculty staff do for our students. I think we all realize the importance, the critical importance of tribal colleges nationwide in changing the lives of individuals, families, communities, and tribal nations across the country. We have a lot of dedicated faculty and staff across the street at Salish Kootenai College, but today we want to take some of your time to recognize or provide an opportunity to recognize the good work that the few are doing. Sandra, you have a few words?
I do. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Tribal Council, for allowing us this time to share this incredible work of our financial aid department. What I would like to specifically tell you about, because a lot of people don't know this, and I'm sorry if there's echo, I'm in a hotel because I'm at a meeting, but this was really important and I wanted to be able to join in recognizing these folks. So we are the only tribal college at this point in time that participates in the Guaranteed Student Loan Program. And it is an important program because it does allow these students to fill gaps in their financial resources that make it possible for them to continue their college education. We try very hard at SKC to have students use loans only as a choice of last resort, but it is oftentimes needed. And it gets those students through to the completion of their goals. That said, the regulations around financial aid say that if you have a default rate, meaning that students don't pay back their loans, and it gets to, I believe it's 30%, then you're no longer eligible to participate in any of the student programs. That's Pell Grants, all of those things. And so this team that you're seeing today has been working very hard. We put this team together with a focused laser sight on financial literacy and helping students navigate the repayment program in about 2016. And they have done amazing work. And what we want to tell you today is that in 2019, we just got their cohort numbers because they're counted through the system in a cohort. So in 2019 cohort, before the freeze on loan repayment went in place, that cohort had 111 students in it, and we had a 0% default rate. That is phenomenal. And that is the work of this team. They provide a lot of financial counseling, a lot of intervention, a lot of budget training, a lot of making sure that students understand what those loans are before they sign the papers. So I cannot stress to you how dedicated and amazing this team is to make that kind of a contribution in our community. And it speaks volumes to the students that we serve at SKC as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President Boham. And I also want to recognize one of the vice presidents for Salish Kootenai College, Mr. Dan Derglow. The Vice President of Academic Affairs is with us too to recognize and honor some of our staff. Just to also mention that of the 600 plus students that we have at Salish Kootenai College, 63% of our student body qualifies for federal Pell Grants. So again, to highlight the importance of good fiscal and accounting management of that program that assures successful completion of their higher education goals. For everybody to know and to recognize, those being honored for their excellent service include Miss Jackie Swain, is a career employee of SKC. SKC is fortunate to have her. She was originally hired in 1990, probably when she was just 10 years old, right? Not to date you at all. She started young and she's still with us and she's doing excellent work. She left for a few years and rejoined the organization in 2008, working as part of the financial aid team. She is presently the director of SKC Financial Aid. Her leadership and consistent direction are a contributing factor in the success on lower than average student loan default rates. So thank you for your service and for cracking the whip over there at Financial Aid. Terrence Stewart has worked for SKC since 2015 when he began his career as a financial assistance advocate. His dedication to SKC and students continues today. And again, a very large contributor for the success of that program. So thank you very much for your service. Chastity Wagner, which couldn't join us today, I don't know if she's dialing in or on virtual, but certainly Chastity began her employment with SKC in 2008 as a financial aid assistant. Today, she is a loan officer, financial aid assistant. She continues today serving SKC students and the financial aid area with dedication and leadership. Again, Chastity couldn't join us, but certainly give her a warm round of applause. And Miranda Spotted Eagle joined SKC in 2019, working as part of the financial aid team. And again, her leadership and dedication to the program leads to the success and success of that program and the work that they do. So thanks very much for that. This group have had exceptional performance in the area of counseling students who obtain loans while attending college. The Department of Education consistently monitors loan default rates. And for those institutions who have a default rate of 30% or more, they can be fined and lose their access to federal funding, including Pell Grants. And I think Sandra said that that's very important to maintain that service for our students. Today, we honor the good work of our SKC employees, Jackie, Terrence, Chastity, and Miranda, for the good work that you do with SKC students in the area of financial aid, counseling, and mentorship. Lamb lunch.
Hello, is this on? Okay. I just wanted to say a few words. You know, I think the importance of what these folks do can't be understated, because I think too many Indians go into a school system and are made to feel dumb and are made to feel like they will never amount to anything, and they're made to feel like they don't belong there. And so so a lot of us, and myself included, have had those experiences in the public school system. So for people like us to go to college, it takes a tremendous amount of courage, and it's really hard, and it's an act of bravery, and it's an act of resistance, and it makes a political statement, and it's important. And everybody who works at the college who has contact with the student is involved in student retention. Every single person who a student at SKC encounters is responsible for retaining them. And what these guys do is really important, because without money, you can't go to school. And it's the most important thing. It's the most important factor in an education, is having the money to pay for it. And that's what these folks help people figure out. And so what they're really doing is social justice work. They're making the world more just, and they're changing our communities. And when you change one person's life, you change their family. So when you change one person's life and help them stay in school and help them finish their degree, you change their earning potential, and you change how they see themselves in the world. So rather than seeing themselves as somebody who's never going to amount to anything and somebody who's not smart enough to be in school, you help them change that. And you also increase their children's likelihood of going to college, because their kids see their moms and dads going to college and think, oh, that's possible for me, or other people in their family. And so you're changing our community, and you are doing really important social justice work. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yep.
On behalf of the Tribal Council, we want to thank you so much and recognize you with the blanket. And we want to recognize you also with an honor song. So Yaman Sud, please. Lem Lem Shaman Suit. We'll release the drum for this morning. And again, thank you so much for being here. Drum is the heart of our community, our culture. So thank you. And we'll take a quick 10-minute break. 10-minute break.